Hey chefs, what's up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we'll be making some delicious fruit tarts. I love this recipe and I love fruit tarts. They're so delicious. So I can't wait to share this recipe with you. Let's get right into this video. So basically you're gonna need one vanilla bean and you're gonna cut it in half lengthwise like this. And then for the recipe, you're just gonna run the knife down the vanilla bean. So let's go over to our saucepan. Now we're at our saucepan. And first, we're going to put 2 cups of milk. And then we're gonna put the half of vanilla bean seeds that we cut. Okay, now we're gonna put it at medium heat and wait for it to boil. Now that our vanilla and milk have gotten to a boil, we're gonna take it off the heat and then let it sit for 15 minutes. Now it's time to separate the egg. I've already done one. So you need the egg yolks this time for the custard. And basically, you crack the egg in a bowl, then you run it through your fingers or any other way and put the egg whites in another bowl and egg yolks. Just in case there's a bad egg or an egg breaks, you don't have to waste all of them and do it all again. Do all the eggs and I'll see you soon. Okay, now that I'm done separating the eggs, I'm gonna put the whites aside. So now we're gonna do the next step with the egg yolks. Okay, so our next step is to put 2/3 a cup of sugar into our egg yolks. Oh my God, this looks so good. I don't know why. And then we're just gonna whisk it until it's like a lighter color and they're just combined. Whoa. It looks kind of like orange and sugar. I think that this is finished. Okay. On to the next step. Now I have a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. I put it in the other measuring cup because it's very messy. There we go. That cornstarch doesn't want to be my friend, but that's okay. Now we're gonna mix this until it's all incorporated. Let's go. I'd say is one of the hardest parts ever is trying to temper the eggs. Vanilla and milk just cooled for 15 minutes. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scoop up about a cup or about a 1/2 cup. And then I'm gonna slowly pour it into here. I'm gonna put a sill pad under it, but if you have a friend to help hold the bowl, I recommend it. And make sure to whisk continuously because you don't want cooked egg. Once you're finished putting all of this milk in, I'd mix it for about 1 to 2 minutes, and then we can start adding the rest of the milk. I figured out that you could make custard in a sous vide, and I have a sous vide at my house, and I just wanted to show you the difference when you cook it the way most people cook it when you put it in a sous vide. So what I'm planning to do is split the custard in half so that I can see the different tastes from a sous vide or just on the stovetop. Now that I'm whisking it on my stovetop, you want to make sure to watch what you have very carefully, because if it starts to thicken a little tiny bit, you're gonna have to take it off the stove because you don't want scrambled eggs. So when you notice it starts thickening, keep whisking it, and then what you want to do is you want to put it into another bowl. The next step is you're gonna put some saran wrap on it, and you don't just want to cover the bowl, you really want to get the plastic and push it against the custard. It looks so weird. Look, it looks so weird, but you do this to make sure it doesn't form a layer on top. Then that will just kind of ruin it. So now you're gonna put this in the fridge for 2 hours, but you can't put this in the fridge overnight. Let's get this in the fridge. I put my custard in a vacuum sealed bag, and then I put it in the sous vide. As you can see, I have the thing right there. Basically what it does is it gets to the right temperature while keeping the water circulated. Okay, it's time to make the tarts. Yay! Okay, so basically I have 16 tablespoons of butter, 2 sticks. Things. The next step is to make the tartlet shell. So basically, right now I'm cutting cold butter into cubes. You want really cold butter. Also, you want to put them in cubes because you're going to put this in your mixer. So we've got our 16 tablespoons of chopped butter in there. We're going to add 1 2/3 of a cup of powdered confectioner's sugar. Powdered or confectioner's sugar. We're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Just tiny bit of salt. And then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, now we're gonna mix this up for 2 minutes until it's really incorporated. Also, I recommend starting it on a slow speed and then making it faster because you don't want the powdered sugar to go fly everywhere. This is what it should look like after the 2 minutes. Like I said, we're gonna be using another 6 egg yolks. So I brought out my whites bowl and I'll be back when I am done separating another 6 eggs. Now that all of the egg yolks are in our mixer, we're gonna mix it until it's combined. And it should be like a light yellow color. Now we have to add 3 1/3 cups of flour. And then you're gonna mix that for about 45 seconds. But I'll see you back once I get all of this flour into here because this is gonna take a while. Now that we have our dough, we're gonna divide it into 3 groups and we're gonna roll it out. So the thickness is about 1/8 an inch. And you're gonna put down the parchment paper. Then you're gonna put some dough down, put parchment paper on top and roll it out. And then you're gonna put it in the freezer for an hour. Basically, I'm gonna grab my ramekin and I'm just going to cut around it. So now I have this nice old circle and I'm going to put it in my tart pan. So basically, you stick that down to the bottom. Basically, because it's really soft, I'm pushing down with these and it's kind of pulling up this other layer. And I'm gonna do that right there, boom. Then you kind of flatten it back up, down. Once you get the edge that you like, oh yeah, and then you're gonna grab your knife and kind of run it along the edge. And then you're gonna grab a fork and do a few pricks in the bottom to make sure it doesn't rise and to let the air out. So this is what it looks like. Then you're gonna pop it in the freezer for like 30 minutes and I'll get back to you. I wanted to remind you to have your oven at 325. Now that our tart shells have been baking for 12 minutes, we're gonna take them out and see if they're golden brown on the edges. They look perfect. Just slid out. Whoa. How beautiful this is. And to make sure that it's cooked, you want to make sure the bottom is fully cooked because basically the top cooks really easily. So now we're gonna be making an apricot like glaze. You're gonna need some apricot jam or apricot preserves, a tablespoon of water and a tablespoon of brandy. Basically, you're gonna heat this up until it is smooth, like glossy. Then you're gonna strain it into a bowl. And when you get to assembling, you brush it over and it gives the fruit a shine. Right now, we're putting the filling into the tart shells, and the first filling that I made was the one in the pot where you hand did it and not in the sous vide. And it's very runny actually. So I think I could have actually kept whipping it for a little longer, but then it could have turned into scrambled eggs. So it's really for your tasting. So basically I'm just putting it into the tart shells and then spreading it around. So this is the first one I did, which was the one in the pot, is version number 2 in the sous vide. Something I noticed is this is much thicker, that you also can't pipe it because we accidentally did a little too hot. We did 183. So what we've learned is that next time, well, I recommend doing it like 177 or 180. So it's a perfect consistency. It's not too hard, but this is gonna be amazing. And it's not very runny. Still, this is gonna be amazing. It's time to decorate! So, the fruits I'm gonna decorate with are some strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, and kiwi. So let's get decorating. It's time to glaze it. I hope you enjoy this recipe and video. I hope you make it at home because this recipe is so good. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and the most important thing, cook. See you next time. Bye.